Welcome to the Call Dad podcast with your host, Call Dad CEO and visionary Matt Posda.
Mr. Stewart,
Posda,
revisiting us here. It's been too long. I've said this whenever we first started this thing, but obviously consistency, but we got to get you on here more often just to talk about all the things that we're constantly working on. So wanted to kind of just broadly have a conversation, if you're down with that, about all the things that we're working on, what major changes we've kind of implemented or see coming down the pipeline here.
yeah.
So I don't know where you want to start, but
let's talk about really kind of sales, the call center, and operations, because we have some major changes that were in the works for all three of them. You know, starting with sales, we've been beta testing virtual sales for the last couple of months now. We're starting to get some traction on that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to start taking off, especially more in the summertime when speed becomes even more valuable.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm excited about. There's a lot of work that goes into that. I mean, even things like teaching technicians how to do a load calculation properly.
Yeah.
What kind of technology we're going to use for that, and how we're going to implement the technology on the sales side. And there's just there's it sounds easy in theory, but then when you actually have to start implementing, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
So that's something on the...
And that's when we're using the conduit tech, is that right?
Conduit tech, yeah. Uses LiDAR.
Yeah.
You go into a room, we have to use a iPad Pro, and you basically scan the entire room. Like, when I say scan, it's basically like...
You just move it around.
That's basically it. And it draws digitally the room, and you go into another room and do that next room, and you go into another room and do that next room, and you do that for the entire space. And when you're done, you actually end up with a drawing of the floor plan of the house.
That's crazy.
And it does the load calculation that way.
Are you doing it by system or by...
It would be by system.
Okay.
By system.
Yeah.
So if it's a second floor system, you would do just the second floor. If it's one system that does 2 stories, you would do it that way as well.
Yeah.
But really awesome technology. We've got some guys that are really enjoying that. Probably the one that's enjoying it the most is Jackson in Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
Guy, he loves doing it. So he does a really good job and teamed up really well with some of our comfort advisors.
So why does virtual sales matter to us? What does that do to the business model?
I think it goes back. I thought about this a lot recently, thinking about Origin and really the desire that you had to create a environment where professionalism and empathy meet, but also removing uncertainty. That's something that you've talked about.
It's funny, Brian and I were just talking about the whole uncertainty.
Yeah. So it's when you think about virtual sales, what are the uncertainties that a customer experiences? Well, listen, I love our comfort advisors. They're awesome. They get to know them, they'll love them too. But in general, people don't like salespeople, just in general. So there's an uncertainty of, who's this person coming in my house? Are they going to try to hard sell me? Are they just trying to upsell me on stuff I don't need, whatever it is? They've built that relationship with the technician. So we've removed some uncertainty. They've already got the relationship with that technician. Yeah. That technician is the advocate for the homeowner. From a business perspective, it really comes back to the speed side. There's a strong likelihood this summer, this is the holy grail that I cannot wait to have happen one day, where a customer calls at 6 a.m., goes to we'll talk about this in a second, our AI agent who picks up the call, who books it in a professional and a timely manner. We run that call that morning. It turns into a virtual sale. We sell it by 10 a.m., and we're at their house by lunch to install a new system. Yeah. When that day happens, that's going to be an awesome day. It's really the culmination of a lot of hard work to get to that point. But virtual sales is this continuation of creating an environment for our homeowners where we were removing uncertainty, and we're doing it faster than they even thought possible.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing I was going to say is, with sometimes uncertainty in and of itself is just time, right? And there's more and more in today's world people who are focused on time management. And what do you mean? I got to take another day off, or I got to wait around for somebody else to come? When are they coming? How are they? Like that whole aspect. And it's not going to be for everyone. I think that's an important nuance is with regard to virtual sales. We're not saying we're shifting the entire business model into virtual sales. We're taking what is a need for a certain type of customer base and giving them what they want.
It's also consistent with, I don't know if we've talked about this, but with what we're trying to target with Wizard of Ads, the type of person that we're trying to target, the person that is looking for a company they can trust, that they can, the company can take care of their problems quickly, and they don't have to live with that uncertainty. We're targeting that type of customer.
Yeah.
So it really is consistent with everything we're doing from a brand messaging, from an operations, from an entire company, even from going back to 2014 with the situation that you dealt with. It really is addressing those needs in 2025.
Because in the example you gave, all right, let's talk about a small business, right? Whatever, million of revenue, probably up to 5 million of revenue. Tech goes out. Well, you call, odds you're going to get tech that same day in the middle of the summer.
20% maybe.
Yeah, correct. So what, a day?
Or
2
two
days?
or three.
Yeah, correct. So, all right, let's middle of the road, 2 days.
Yep.
Okay. Tech comes out, DOA, right? Nothing, grounded compressor, right? So now you've got some big options to consider, right? You want a comfort advisor to come out. How long? Middle of
summer, again, two days.
So now you're 4 days in. All right, comfort advisor comes out. You decide, all right, I'm not dumping more money in this. I'm going to go ahead with a replacement.
2 days.
So
and now you're in the weekend, so now you got to go another couple of following Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're 7-8 days just to get a solution. And my experience that you were referencing, that was probably 2-3 weeks by the time the whole situation,
and the amount of uncertainty you had during that entire period. You don't know what's going to cost you. You don't know what it's going to take to fix it. You don't know any of this stuff.
I don't know if the person's going to show up.
So, this is, the culmination of going all the way back to that time in 2014.
Yeah.
11 years later, we might. Yeah. I think we will this year achieve the holy grail of same day everything.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just you took uncertainty and you were like, wow.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
On the call center side, I think the thing that's really exciting right now is the AI agents that or agent. I don't know if you want to use the plural or singular, whatever she prefers.
Yeah.
I don't. So I heard not to personify AI. It's better to call it and not,
Why?
I don't know if it's
when you say personify, you mean like
turn it into a human being.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard it, so it's got to be true.
So you're against my say please and thank you? Is that what you're saying?
You're doing that for self-preservation.
Yeah, 100%. You're not?
So, I call it. The team calls it she, but
I just say please and thank you.
It really is going to do.
Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm glad to have the opportunity to speak to you.
There's so many things that are exciting about that from multiple facets. So let's start off with the obvious. Going into summertime, we're going to have such an influx of calls in such a short period of time. It's almost impossible to be in a position where you can have just the right amount of staff to answer all the calls in a timely manner during that first 2, 3, 4 weeks of heat.
Yeah, 3 days of 90s, and then it's...
And that's, we hate that. We talk about that all the time. We look at things like abandoned calls, people that call us, and for whatever reason, we've tried to put things in place, but they're still on hold. We talk about uncertainty. When a customer's on hold 8, 10, 20 minutes in some situations.
18, 20.
You're all you're doing in that situation is make their uncertainty even worse. So they hang up and they'll try to call somebody else. And
plus, what does that say about our efficiency as a business?
Yeah, we look like everybody else at that point.
we promise same day service and same day solutions, but we can't
pick
even
up the
answer
phone
a phone
within 20 minutes. Yeah. Now, obviously, that's in the busy season, but that is something that we're always planning towards and trying to prepare for that time.
Yeah. And by the way, that's not our folks who aren't answering the phone.
No. They're busy.
Yeah, they're busy. Then it goes to, and the hunt group doesn't come back to us, right? So if our CSRs are not busy in 3 minutes because it's already moved to the call center, they're sitting in a third party, we don't control environment, and they'll wait as long until that's available.
Yes.
Right.
And that's a terrible situation.
Correct.
And they do a poor job. They did a poor job in general booking calls and providing a great customer experience. Yeah. So just a really bad experience for the customer. It's bad for us. We're paying for those leads. We're paying for those customers to call us, and we're not even able to get to it.
Yeah.
So using AI, we can take any call that comes in immediately. There's no hold time any longer. They're able to actually get something that will be able to solve the majority of our customers' issues. Not just booking calls, which it does a pretty good job booking calls. Yeah. Not as good as our CSRs, but it's right below that.
Yeah.
But what it also will do is things like, and I let you listen to one today, customer called in wanting an update on an appointment. Just they were confused what it was. Our team had sent an email or a text message that said, we have a walkthrough schedule. Well, he didn't know what that meant. Called in, went to the AI, and AI explained basically what it was, what was going on, who was doing it, and when it was scheduled for. Person said, okay, great, thanks, hang up. So not only will it handle booking calls, but it will also handle ETA calls. It'll also handle some common questions that they might have. Do you service my area? How much does it cost? That kind of stuff. Yeah. So we'll be able to be able to handle those situations and handle so many more calls than we have ever been able to handle, which is amazing because we always, in general, we haven't had a hard time making the phone ring, but we have struggled sometimes, especially in the busy season, getting to all the calls.
Yeah.
So that's one reason, just the simple economic side of, now this marketing money that we're spending, we're actually going to be able to reap the benefits of that.
Well, I was just going to say, and there's a lot of intangible things that come out of it as well. And what I mean by that is I've tried for years to understand how Google kind of gives attribution to certain things. So
that's a good one, yeah.
For example, LSA, which is one of our biggest lead sources, paid lead sources.
Probably our best. It is our best.
Yeah. Great performance, low cost, generally low cost compared to some other things. And the leads are actually good, right? So if we don't answer the call quickly, right? So let's say that one of those ends up in that 11, 12, 15, 18-minute hold time.
Mm-hmm.
Every second that clicks of that unanswered call, Google
it affects the algorithm.
Correct, is judging us. So we'll never know or even be able to quantify how many additional leads potentially we lost because we couldn't answer that phone within the 60-second requirement of Google.
And it'll be really interesting too. You've brought this up in the past, like a company that's significantly bigger than us gets a lot more LSA. What makes Google give them more LSA calls than us?
Yeah.
What is the reason? Could it possibly be answer time?
Yeah.
Could it possibly be people that, how quickly they pick up the phone?
Yeah.
And then to your point, is that going to have a ripple effect throughout the entire summer where Google looks at us and says, these guys are
taking care.
They're freaking awesome. They're answering the call quickly. They're booking the calls. This is awesome. Let's just send them more. They can handle it. They can handle it.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen with that?
Now, to be clear, everybody, my current thesis is that it's reviews. I believe that Google somehow is looking or quantifying reviews to size of business and therefore allocating, and the comparison is two companies, different sizes with unlimited budgets. Why does one get more? I think it's reviews, but you're absolutely right, because the other thing is that larger business would have more capacity. Right? So the fact
even
that
if
they
it's
can
75-25, even if it's 75% hype reviews, hypothetically, 25%.
It's so material.
There is an impact on it.
Yeah.
We think. We'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So obviously there's huge economic impacts. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, our customers will be able to have the same booking experience. And versus, what we've done in the past is obviously during business hours, we're great. After hours, we're good because a lot of times it goes to the after hours call center. Once it goes to the after hours call center, it's
gone.
It was flip a quarter and hope that it goes okay.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. But I'll take another reason that I'm really excited about it. And we've not been able to do this in the past because there's been such a need to literally answer the phone, like pick up the phone. And, we've had a CSR team, great individuals, and what they've not been able to do is get the training that they've asked for to be able to resolve more customer issues.
Yeah.
And not just resolve customer issues, but also do other things. Maybe make more outbound calls. Maybe sell more memberships. Maybe do more like inside sales type role. We've had individuals who are saying, hey, consistent with our core value of cultivating curiosity and developing individuals, we have people that are saying, hey, I'd like to grow. And we've struggled in the past being able to give them the resources because we need people to answer
the phone. Yeah.
So what this is going to allow us to do now, and we've already started this, is really turning that team into specialists, snipers.
Yeah.
And not only just snipers of, again, selling memberships, but maybe we have a customer resolution specialist who really their job is to resolve customer issues, not transfer to this person, and the customer maybe gets an answer or maybe doesn't as quick as they need it. Resolve the issues. Maybe, again, we have some people who've said, I'd love to be more involved on the sales side. This will give opportunities. We have millions of unsold estimates every single year that if we reached out to them, we would get a percentage of those people just by reaching out and contacting them. They're going to have the time to do that. So, again, it's consistent with everything that we're trying to do. I think it's going to have major economic impacts for the business, but I also think it's going to have major impact for the individuals on that team to be able to grow and learn and just continue to develop their skills.
Yeah, and we talk about this at the leadership level a lot. And I've been trying to think about like, okay, if I was a CSR, how would I view this technology or how would it impact me? And one thing that we've talked about at the leadership level is how do we get the organization to pivot from being a reactionary business to a proactive business. And there's almost no more reactionary position in the business than those answering the phones, because every single phone you're reacting to whatever that person on the other end is saying. So you're just stuck in this reactionary box kind of. And this flips that script where all of a sudden you can take a reactionary department and make them more proactive. They can do all the things that you talked about. So really it's a huge opportunity for those individuals.
I was listening to a podcast this morning on my run, and it was this. When you listen to industry podcasts right now, it's like AI expert. Like everyone's talking AI. It's the buzzword. And it is a challenge. We've talked about this, like not getting too distracted by shiny objects. But this gentleman was saying, and I liked his perspective. He said the way that AI will be used in the service industry is to augment the human being, not to replace it, but to augment it, to make their job better, to make it easier, to give them opportunities to do the things that they do really well. And maybe AI can help do the things that take more time or more task intensive. And I thought that was a really good way to look at technology like this.
Yeah. Okay. So Matt's advice though is don't personify it. This Matt's advice is
personify it.
No. You can thread the needle. Don't personify, but say please and thank you. Say please and thank you.
It is funny. I've listened to some calls. We just rolled this out last week, and it's going to take a little bit to learn and things like that. It's still pretty good, but it's gonna have to continue to learn. But it is interesting because it announces, like when you call, it says, "I'm Abby, your virtual assistant." So if people aren't paying attention, they don't hear that. And they'll say things like, "Thank you. This is fantastic." We heard one today where the person said, "Your voice just sounds perfect."
You just have a wonderful voice.
So even though it's announced, like,
what did she say back? She said something like, "Oh, that's sweet."
Yeah.
It was something like, "Oh, that's sweet." It's like it was a very empathetic sound back. It's pretty.
My favorite corny thing that we've trained it to do is at the end of booking a call, it'll say, "Would you like to hear a dad joke?"
Yeah.
And this is really cool. We actually took the dad jokes that our customers, or I guess they weren't necessarily our customers, but the ones that were submitted for our radio contest, and we uploaded that. So those are the jokes that they're going to be able to tell now. Now the delivery is terrible, and they're not great comedians, but it's
timing.
It's really bad. But the point is, it's going to be pretty cool. It's just it's consistent with the brand.
Yeah.
And especially in the summertime, when our CSRs were on, it was hard for them, and we're human beings, so we're not programmed, so we're going to get tired. We're going to start, not being as sharp, and this program will do exactly what we tell it to do every single time. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm really excited about that. And then I guess the last thing that I really want to hit on with operations is the continual evolution towards 7-day-a-week service. We rolled that out in the service department last year. Huge success, not only for our customers and not only for the business, but also for our team. In general, we've heard so many people just thrilled with the flexibility that it gives them. And I think it's really been able to give some better work-life balance. I always tell people when I interview them, if you're looking for work-life balance, don't do this career. Like, this is not the career for work-life balance. This is the career if you want to truly serve people and take care of their issues, and you're willing to sacrifice yourself.
Yeah.
This does as good of a job as we've found to give some balance, even though it's not perfect. It gives some balance.
It's weird. For me, I've always, maybe not the best analogy for it, but kind of like a nurse, right? And I've talked to so many nurses over the years and had a lot of friends that went to nursing school. And it was weird. They always acted like it was a terrible schedule and really hard, but they loved the fact that they had so much time off in between their schedules. So it kind of gives that best of both worlds dynamic.
It's not for everybody, but it's for our team.
Correct.
That's something that we talk a lot about now during the recruiting process. And, again, I think in general it's been good. But what we're going to be rolling out this year, and we've already put a lot of pieces in place, we're starting to, we've looked at hiring additional dispatchers. So now we've actually hired them already. So we'll have 4 total dispatchers. So from basically 8 a.m. in the morning to 12 o'clock at night, 7 days a week, we have dispatch coverage. We will have dispatch coverage. They're in training now. Yeah. By summertime, we'll have that coverage, which we've never had that amount of coverage before.
Yeah.
We hired an additional parts coordinator, so they're going to basically work the same schedule as our techs. So they'll be 4 on, 4 off as well. And what's nice about that is most companies you can order online most of the time, so they'll still be able on Saturdays, Sundays, even order those parts. Take care of those orders, take care of it. Now, they might not be able to get it depending on what it is, but they'll at least be able to take that load off. Because what's happened now at this point is we had one parts coordinator, Ricky, and Monday morning he's got a list of stuff to order. This will help make that list be a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
And then we hired another install coordinator as well. They're going to work 4 on, 4 off, so they'll be working 7 days a week. So our sales team has gotten a lot better on the weekends selling jobs. I want to say it was 2 weekends ago on a Saturday we sold over $100,000 in February. I mean, that's going to be a crazy amount in summertime.
Yeah.
So having that coverage on the install side is going to be huge. And then the last piece of that, we just talked about this today in our operations L10, is how do we provide 7-day coverage on installs?
Yeah.
How do we give
Sorry, before moving to that, so again, the uncertainty doesn't just apply to the customer, it also applies to the tech and the staff, right? So what we've done with the 4 on, 4 off is we've made it so there's a little bit more visibility with regard to the tech schedule, right? And then there was the other big problem that a lot of people don't talk about on call is obviously the fact that you never know what's going to happen, getting called back to the field, that whole dynamic. But then what isn't talked about as much is not having any support behind you, right? So what you've now done is rolled out where the entire support function of the business mirrors the entire field availability of the tech.
I had a conversation with a vendor last week, and to us, Sunday is Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday is Saturday. There's no difference for us.
Yeah.
So yes,
it's funny, but it's like they don't understand that. It's so taboo to them to think that we would treat a Saturday as a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's not normal in this industry. Yeah. So you're right. We're going to have the infrastructure in place to provide the level of support for our team 7 days a week. So if I'm a technician on a Sunday and I've got a bad carrier part and I need to get that part ordered, I'll be able to call my parts coordinator. That parts coordinator will be able to go online, order that part, and depending on the situation, might be able to get that part that day.
Yeah.
That's a game changer for us, especially going into summer. And one of the things the service managers have worked really, really hard on is same day repairs. Yeah. How do we make sure that we can get the repairs done the same day? This will get us as close as humanly possible to doing that going into summertime. Yeah. That alleviates a tremendous amount of customer complaints and customer uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a game changer again from an economic perspective, because now instead of us taking 2 calls to get a job done, now we can do it in just 1.
Yeah.
The other thing that's I'm really excited about is Derek is working really, really hard on coming up with a better part solution for us. Well, vehicles too. Yeah. I don't know. Your hatred of vehicles has now transferred to him.
Manifest across. Yeah.
But no, being able to...
It's a love-hate relationship.
Coming up with a better solution for parts, that's something that we heard a lot of last year when we were doing town halls. I'm not getting my parts as quickly, and we've recognized that there needs to be a change, and Derek is getting really close to coming up with a much better solution, we believe, for us for parts this year.
Yeah.
All of those things, again, are just going to help us get faster, take care of customers quicker, and remove uncertainty that they're going to have. Yeah. So lots of fun stuff coming down the pipe for over the next 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah. What were you going to mention about install? Were you going to say something else about install that I cut you off?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So yeah, obviously a lot of moving parts. Just a few things, right?
Yeah. It's always that way. I was talking to Amy, so she had a conversation. She was talking to another company, and great company, and she was talking about kind of the feel on that call. And one of the things that I was talking to her about was there's a lot of excitement at our company. There's not that way. It doesn't feel that way at every other company. Sometimes some companies are in a self-preservation mode, and we talk about that a lot. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of companies that are in self-preservation mode, and that's not as fun of a place to be at when you're just trying to hang on for dear life versus when you're implementing all this change and all this new stuff. Yeah. It's a lot more fun place to be when you're doing all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It may not feel like
it's chaotic.
It doesn't, and no matter what we say, you're not going to believe us, but the grass is not greener because we see a lot of these operations across the country, and
we're definitely a unicorn. There's very few companies in the U.S. that we've been able to observe or talk to or even hear about that are doing what we're doing, privately backed, doing it the way that we're doing it, and seeing the kind of growth that we're seeing. We're very much a unicorn.
Yeah, and doing it for a specific reason, like having a mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I agree there. All right, speaking of reasons and mission, obviously we talk a lot, and as classes come in and new onboarding and all that, I know you probably even more than me preach pillars. Right, and talk about pillars.
Every interview.
Yeah, you've probably done that speech hundreds and hundreds of times now.
Same speech every time.
All right, so what do you think, what pillar, if you had to pick one, do you think that Call Dad is executing extremely well right now?
Cultivate curiosity.
Yeah.
For a couple of different reasons. I'll start off with Todd. Todd's done this. We've talked a lot about Todd, but Todd's role and what Todd's role is evolving into in 2025 is going to be just an amazing addition to the organization and fulfillment of that pillar, which is providing a pathway for success for everybody. And that's really what he's going to be focused on a lot in 2025. So that's one reason. What Katie has worked on over the last several months with electives, and she's actually working on that a lot. So this is one of her few months where she doesn't have classes going on about the rest of this year.
Yeah.
So she told me she's working a lot on electives. We've got the leadership elective, but we're starting to create more and more electives because we want to be a company that if you're wanting to get better, we want to give you the opportunity to get better.
Yeah.
So I think electives is another thing. I think what we've done with Dad U over this last class was and is extremely promising.
Yeah.
I've heard it from everybody involved. We all love every Dad U class. They're all fantastic. But I think why we're excited about this one even more in the past is because we get better every single time.
Every single class.
And we try to improve. Yeah, correct. That's 100% true.
Yeah.
And, we've done things like the lab and having a lab. And we've still got stuff we've got to do in the future, but we're making steps to create an environment where people are going to be able to learn and get better.
Yeah, it's funny, the first few classes, especially at the town hall level, just having so many conversations about hey, one day we will hit critical mass with the program itself, such that a lot of the concerns that you have right now or that you're feeling or the aspect towards how the program is operating, it needs critical mass to work probably the smoothest, right? And I don't know if it's there, but it feels like we're right at that point of critical mass in the program.
I need to look. I haven't done the math on it in the last couple months, but I know last year it was 70% of our field staff. That number's probably
it's got to be
80
mid-80s.
plus. Yeah. So that's a great, and I actually bring that up when I do Dad U interviews. I always tell people, most of the people in this company that they're going to come in contact with have been through the program. So they understand what they're going through and they want to help. And that makes us very unique. A lot of, and we had this issue in the beginning. People didn't want to help. They didn't want to help new guys coming in. Correct. It was a hassle. It was
they can't do it.
Yeah.
It was that whole aspect of they're not ready.
Yeah, correct. So it's awesome now that we've gotten to this point where I think that everybody wants to truly help.
Yeah.
They really actually want to see other people succeed.
Yeah.
The other thing that's happening right now, I would say it's happened over the last 6 months, but it's going to continue to happen, is we're starting to take people that have gone through Dad U and now they're moving into other areas, leadership positions and other things. And I think that's going to continue to happen here over the next few months where people came through the program and now they're doing something totally different within the organization. And that's going to permeate throughout the entire organization. And I think it'll only make us better because they understand our culture. They understand what we're trying to do better than somebody maybe coming in from the outside.
That's probably one of my favorite parts of orientation when you and I talk to the new class coming in is giving those success stories. It's awesome to see how far some of those individuals have progressed.
Well, I mean, I'll give you another example. This isn't even a management position, but this just happened recently. So Spencer up in Hickory, has been with us. He was in the very first class. He graduated the program, got his journeyman certificate, went and got his license, and now he is a quality control specialist in Hickory and Charlotte.
Yeah.
So that's just another example where you're taking
that position did not exist
6 months ago. Well, 3 months.
3 months ago.
Yeah, it didn't exist. You're 100% right. And now you got a guy who's been through the program, who's been a tech, and now he's licensed. He's got his journeyman certificate from the state, and now he's able to take his knowledge and really help our installs get better and better. And that's so powerful too because that person is also doing a lot of customer service stuff in the back end. And I think as we continue to develop that role, it's going to help customer service get even better and better on that side. So that's just another example of cultivating curiosity, developing personal development pathways, getting them the opportunity to grow. I think because of Dad U, so much of our company is a company of learners. We just want to learn and get better. And If you don't want to learn to get better, you probably don't like working here very much. but most people
Well, you
do.
will get left behind. Like just in an organization that's growing the way that we're growing at the pace that we're growing, you will stick out as a sore thumb.
Correct.
If you're not willing to grow.
Correct.
And look, here's something else that I try and repeat this a lot is there are a lot of businesses across the nation, to toot our own horn here, that claim that they have some pillar or something similar, not only to cultivate curiosity, but also a university or a program or some academy or whatever it may be. But you go in there and ask the question of how many people in the field came through your program, and the answer is low single-digit %.
Well, we heard somebody,
Yeah.
a very large, very prominent
Yeah.
company, say nobody grows their own techs.
Correct. Who, meanwhile, had the best
Training
program
program ever.
in the nation.
And we said, we do. So, yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that aspect of, I think it was 2 meetings ago, was when we first said that the majority of the individuals at the meeting came through Dad U. And then now
This April class is going to be awesome.
we'll finish this year, more than 90% of the company,
I think so.
has gone through the program.
We'll probably have over 200 people roughly by the end of the year, I would anticipate.
Yeah.
And I would anticipate, especially on the field side, 90%.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you in totality that is by far, we really, really, we invested early and often in the development of that program. We still have a long way to go, but.
I mean, last week we're at a conference.
Yeah.
And we're at a networking event. And I'm at a table, you're at a different table. We're talking about things to be better, different topics. And you probably heard the guy at my table stood up and his whole thing was, you know what? Maybe we should actually hire from people that aren't in the industry. It's like a revelation. Like, no, really? Are you serious? And I'm thinking, like, you got to get on board, buddy. You're years behind at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Still, most people don't do it.
All right. Moving from the positive, not to get negative, but what would you say? All right, pick one pillar that, and I completely agree, by the way, cultivate curiosity. But which one that you think that we are struggling with?
I think fostering communication, but I want to be specific of what I mean by fostering communication. I don't think it's necessary, and it might be in some situations, a lack of communication.
Yeah.
I don't think that's normally what it is. I think normally what it is, it's a lack of effective communication. We're just not effectively communicating the message to every single person on the team.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of this. A lot of times what will happen is we'll have a policy change or some of the stuff that we're talking about, all the fun, exciting stuff. It's also change, and change in general is scary.
Correct.
There's uncertainty with employees when there's change. It's just a natural thing. So you have a process change or a policy change or whatever it is, and maybe you or me, we're talking about it in our executive meeting, and everyone's like, yeah, cool, this is awesome, let's do it. And then maybe those department heads communicate that with maybe their leads and so on and so forth. And then by the time it gets to maybe the frontline team, some of the message has been lost. And it's not because the person didn't tell them. It was maybe the why wasn't thoroughly explained for that person.
Yeah.
And it didn't make as much sense to them. And when they asked questions, they couldn't really get good answers.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest, the thing that we've got to continue to work on is how can we effectively communicate, especially change. That's most of the stuff. How do we effectively communicate change to everybody within the organization in a way that they truly understand the why? And I don't have a great answer with it. I mean, we've talked about some different things.
I think the intranet stuff that we're working on.
Videos, trying to do some different things to, we're investing in leadership training so that our leaders are hopefully learning to better explain the why to their team. So we're putting things in place. But I still don't know if it's not, as we sit here today, we're not doing a great job with it consistently. Yeah. Sometimes we do a better job than others, but something we've still got to continue to work on.
And look, I mean, well, at least when I was a kid, dating myself now, but everybody played the game telephone in school, I think. I don't know if they ever did that with you in elementary school or anything, but everybody plays the game telephone. And it only takes like 3, I think, individuals to really screw the message up. And it's not intentional. It's not like they're maliciously screwing the message up. It's just people are busy. So they hear one thing in a meeting, yeah, great, okay, and then they go and pass it on. And it just, things change, right? Messaging change, delivery changes. So it is a very, very difficult thing. I believe, personally speaking, as long as we are trying to grow the way we are, as long as we are trying to stay kind of that unicorn company that is doing things different, as long as we are constantly trying to be the best at solving uncertainty for our customers, the pillar that we're always going to struggle with the most is going to be fostering communication.
Yeah. Now, I'll give an example of how we're trying to merge cultivate curiosity and foster communication, how we're trying to do a little bit better.
Yeah.
One of the things that we heard from some of the team was, hey, this training on Tuesday, service training that we were doing, install training, it's virtual. It's hard to pay attention, and they're watching a screen for an hour. And Katie does an awesome job, but I don't care how good of a job you do. It's hard sometimes to stay focused on the virtual side. So what we've done, we changed where now Katie actually takes a day and trains the service managers and install managers on the material for the month. And so it's cultivating curiosity. We're trying to teach them, and then they're taking that training material and they're disseminating it to their team that following month.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out a way to better communicate what we're trying to do in a way that actually makes more sense for our team. So, we try to do these little things. Again, I still think it's going to be a challenge for us.
Yeah. I agree. All right. Speaking of challenges, what do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for 2025?
Oh, I think capacity management is always going to be a challenge for our business.
Yeah.
So making sure that we have enough individuals on the team to be able to do the work that we anticipate is going to be coming in. We talked about the AI agent. We're going to be answering more calls than we've ever answered, faster than we've ever been able to answer it. We're going to have dispatchers now that we've never had dispatchers. It's going to be so critical that we take advantage of that. And the way we're going to be able to do that is by making sure we have enough people to do that. Yeah. So that's why I'm excited. Our April class already, and today is, March the 4th. The April class is April 28th. And we've already got 6 people signed up for that one. So we're already working diligently to make that class, because that class will be coming out right at the beginning of summer. Yeah. They'll be thrown into the deep end, but we'll need them. We'll need them to get thrown into the deep end. So getting them on the team, getting them trained up, this class that we just had that just came through is going to be critical, and everybody else on the team. So I think capacity management is always going to be a challenge for us, and it will be a challenge for us this year as well. Yeah.
I mean, that's our strength, but it's also our weakness with the way that we're trying to attempt to go to market.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, anything else? Any closing thoughts? Anything you want to drop? Wisdom? Anything?
Excited about this year. I mean, here's what I'll say: we've exceeded budget. The first 2 months of the year, and we had a very ambitious budget, 87% growth. Yeah. And I'm just super excited about this year. We have a lot of things in place, a lot of good people on the team, that I'm excited to see what's going to happen by the end of 2025.
Yeah. Well, look, I know you have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this spring and this summer coming up. So appreciate everything you do.
Yes, sir.
I know you do a lot of unspoken things and a lot of spoken things. So thank you for everything.
Yes, sir.
And make sure you all bug this guy if you need anything.
Absolutely.
Okay? All right. Appreciate you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thanks.
We'll see you.